Welcome back to the Better Learning Podcast. This episode is part of a special series we recorded live at PASBO Conference, also known as the Pennsylvania Association of School Business Officials in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this year. While we were there, we had the chance to sit down with school leaders, business officials, and partners from across the region to talk about what it really looks like to plan, fund, and support today's learning environments. So in this series, you'll hear a real conversation about the trade-offs, the challenges, and the opportunities that come with trying to build better learning environments. Without further ado, let's dive in.
All right, welcome back to the Better Learning Podcast. We are here at PASBO here in Pittsburgh. We're here with our next guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Just give a little bit about yourself, your name, title, district, and then just a little bit about you and how you ended up in the role you're in.
Sure. Hi. Well, thank you. I am Maureen Oakley, and I work for Pottstown School District. We are a school district outside of Philadelphia, about 45 minutes in Southeastern Pennsylvania. I have been there for the past 12 years now. And prior to that, I had worked at two other school districts in the area. But once I graduated college, I had an accounting degree, and I thought accounting sounded fun until I realized it wasn't so much fun. I needed a little bit something different. So I had actually looked at some positions that had pensions because I knew that was something that was kind of going away. There was a lot of companies that weren't offering that like long-term retirement planning. And my dad was a Teamster, so I knew he had this thing called a pension. And I thought I should probably look for a job that has one of those because they are cool and I will be able to have a post-life, someday. So I had looked at some municipal jobs and was fortunate enough to get a job in a school district doing payroll. And I kind of continued to like the school district environment. It was different, being close to kids and education. You knew you were doing something that was positive, not just working for a company who was, trying to make profits. We can't really make profits in our world. We're in governmental finance. So our goal is just to keep things going, keep things honest, do things ethically. And that's, kind of what brought me into school district business in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I like the way you worded that of like, you're more worried about doing things ethically and what's best for kids. That's why we're here and why we're having these conversations.
Sure.
So that's great. Tell me, did you grow up in Eastern Pennsylvania or where'd you grow up?
I didn't. I actually am a Jersey girl.
Oh,
so
really?
I grew up in South Jersey,
Okay.
my entire life, born and raised close to the beach. So I do miss that a little bit. But Pennsylvania's, it's good.
Yeah, so that's still home. Is that where family's at?
Yep,
and everything?
family's still there.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Well, then this is going to make this question interesting. I thought maybe this was going to be a given where you're located, but maybe not since you didn't grow up there. So we're asking everybody, we're kind of keeping a tally of what everybody answers this question this week. What's the better sports town, Philly or Pittsburgh?
Oh, gosh, Philly. I mean, my goodness gracious. Yeah. South Jersey is technically, we're all still Philly fans. Very passionate Philly fans. So that's not even, it's really not even a question.
What about basketball? I mean, like
Sixers.
Sixers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the Philly Flyers, Sixers, Eagles, of course. The Phillies, they actually play today at 4. They're playing the Rangers. So, yes.
Yeah.
I may not leave too early from my conference, but I may catch the first pitch of opening day.
I was going to say, be careful because we are on air. We don't want to give too much away of if we're sneaking out or not.
Yeah, it's all good.
Well, we're trying to get perspectives, and we've got a diverse amount of questions. We've had a lot of these answered throughout the conference this week. I know you've got one that you wanted to talk about, so I'm just going to have you ask your question and then just go ahead and answer it. And I want to get your perspective on the question you picked.
What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about a career in finance or school business management? First of all, I love that because I feel like we as an organization have struggled. We've struggled in the past few years in kind of how to attract people into, school, finance, business, and different ways in which we can get out there and kind of search for those who are interested in the field. In the past, this was a very desirable job because the pension. There were a lot of people who went into accounting, they went into auditing, they worked for the big accounting firms, and they kind of got a little burnout, I would say, looking for some change. So they would navigate over to, because they would do our audits, they would do school district audits. So it was like very desirable to move from the auditing field into becoming in school business office. And sometimes you would come in as a lower level position or sacrifice and take a lower level position just to be able to move your way up into that business manager or CFO type role. And now it's a little different because we're really concerned at like who's going to be out there filling in those jobs as people start to age out and retire. I feel like I'm kind of like a middle of the pack because I'm nowhere near retirement yet. I have a good amount of years experience. So I'm like seeing this and saying, oh my gosh, I'm concerned. Organizations like this, PASBO, are huge to make sure that we're continuing to network and make connections. The unique thing about being in school business is you're sitting in a room full of people that all have the same exact, very similar problems to you. You're not competing with them. It's almost like when, say, of course this happened here. I get to my hotel room and like my key, I'm like, it's not working. And I look down the hall and I see there's another lady and like, she's fumbling her key too. And like, she's having the same problem. I'm like, we both checked in, the lights are flashing green, but like the key, like, it's like the door, it's funky. And it's almost like you feel like relief, like, somebody else is having the same issue I have. It's not funny. You don't want them to have the same issue, but you feel like, you're like, okay, I feel like I belong. I'm in the right space. Like, I'm going to say, hey, do you need help? She's going to ask me if I need help, or we're going to call down together and they're going to send somebody up, right? So it's kind of like that when you come to a conference like this, like everybody in the same room, we all have the same issues, the same struggles. So we don't have to be out there trying to make like that cutting edge. There is no pressure. There's no industry pressure to be like the pioneer in finding out the most profitable thing. Like, we all just need to do the right thing. We all have the same kind of compliance. We have the same kind of expectations. We live by the same rule codes of ethics. And I'll say, not the best or some of the rules that we, are asked with federal and state compliance. Like, let's just be frank, we think they're dumb. We think they're repetitive. We think it causes us a lot of extra work and it could be streamlined a lot better. But the good thing is everybody else in the room is doing the same things as you. So we try to come together, get our voice and say, look, this portal is stupid. We should be reporting these kinds of things in this kind of way instead of doing this redundant kind of work. So I feel like that gives, I don't want to say it's like no pressure, low pressure, because we definitely have a ton of pressures in our industry, but it's a little different from, profitable industry where you're like pressures of driving profits and cutting jobs and just dealing with market trends and other, it's different, but it's a challenge that gives a little bit of reward on the back end because we get to see every day all of where our hard work goes, the kinds of things we improve for kids and futures and the pathways that we're giving them. So like that's rewarding.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm going to kind of take this a little bit different direction because I loved kind of what you were talking about. You mentioned it here. Like one of the great things is connecting and just really sharing and sharing the stories that you do, the meaningful work that you're participating in. What is like the one piece of advice of what you would tell somebody who's kind of navigating that career path, maybe thinking about the role that you sit in now? Like what would you say is like the driving force of saying like, you should really look into this? What's your message?
As far as what would set them up for being the most successful, I would say make sure you surround yourself with a bunch of people who are really smart and they're doing the same things as you. Do not try to invent things and make up the wheel. There's a lot of people in our industry who've got tons of experience and they know a lot of people who can help you solve your problems without you going down this big, long rabbit hole and doing a lot of work. So just make sure if you set yourself up with, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out, try to learn things. We're constantly getting new things. So whether it be new standards like in curriculum or new special ed guidance or rules, just make sure you're from a little bit familiar, or don't be afraid to kind of dive into some of those areas, because it will make you a better like business leader if you are familiar with the education side. Because most people on the school business side or the operational side, like we didn't grow up in education.
Right.
We didn't go through that education path in our schooling,
Right.
where educators all went through that educational process and got their certs and their, certificates and different, pathways that they selected along the way. And we didn't. Like I said, I mean, my background's accounting, and that wasn't that thrilling. So as I navigate through my position now, I try to make sure I have an understanding of like the special ed world, the curriculum world. Even my super and I we're very connected, and he's very involved in advocacy and legislation. So I need to know all those things a little bit, not a ton, but a little bit, just to help me make better business decisions for just long-term overall success.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. I mean, I love the phrase, just ask questions,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Be curious, stay curious, and always try to keep what's most important in mind, the kids. So that's amazing. Anything we missed? Anything that you wanted to touch on that, or shout outs, or anything that you wanted to give?
No, I guess I'll just say, like, our roles they're super important. They're very impactful. A lot of, times people think, oh, just education in school. And that's, especially post-COVID, that's totally not it anymore. I mean, we're making sure kiddos are fed, making sure they have eye exams and sports physicals and, dry places at nighttime. I mean, it's, warm, safe, dry places that they're going home to. So it's so much more, in some places more than others. And I think that's just important for people to realize, because there are a lot of different perspectives and philosophies on education. But at the end of the day, sometimes those people on the front line are doing so much more than just, reading scores and math scores.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, it was great to have you on. I'm glad that we didn't have you on yesterday and we had you on today. I wouldn't have been leading this conversation, so I'm glad that I got to hear your perspective.
Great.
So, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. This was awesome. I'm glad to share.
The Better Learning Podcast is produced by Matt Rogers and edited by Kelly Jones. The views and opinions shared on this podcast are those of the individual speaking and do not necessarily represent the perspectives of their affiliated companies, organizations, or associations.